Hi everyone, welcome back to Platform Strategy. So this is our second lecture, and in this part A, I'm going to give you a very brief introduction about what we want to do in this particular lecture. So in this lecture, we will focus on this issue about model choice. Okay, so when we want to do a business, should we do a multi-sided platform or should we do a merchant? So this is a model choice question. The first question regarding platforms or platform strategies, of course, is do we really want to be a platform, right? So as a very quick review, in this lecture, we will focus on two different kinds of business models, either a multi-sided platform model or a merchant, or we call it reseller models in some cases. So I hope you still have some memory about this particular figure. It tells us that traditionally, in a merchant model, if you want to sell some products, you buy in from suppliers and then sell to consumers. Okay? So the way for you to generate some profit is to buy low, sell high in some sense. Somehow you need to add some values to the products, either regarding the quality, availability, or service or something, so that the selling price can be higher than your procurement cost, something like that. As a platform, you don't really sell products. You sell connections, sell information, right? So basically, you connect people and let them trade on your platforms. Let them talk, communicate, trade on your platforms. So in that case, your graph is like something like this. So you do have some interaction with either side, but the important thing is that the two sides, they see each other and they trade with each other directly. Okay, so traditionally, if this is really a retailer owning some retail stores, as a consumer, you go there, you don't talk to suppliers directly, you don't negotiate price or ask for delivery ways with suppliers, you only talk to merchants, right? But in an MSP way, you do talk to suppliers directly. Of course, we don't really just focusing on products. These may also be service providers. For example, if a merchant model is some kind of universities like National Taiwan University, and in that case, we say the merchant hire those professors, and then those professors provide services to consumers. Still, you would consider NTU as a merchant doing business with you as students, okay? But as we mentioned, so for example, for Coursera, you don't really purchase information, purchase knowledge from the MSP Coursera. Instead, you just use Coursera to find a course, find a professor that you are interested in, and then you learn from that supplier, that professor, or that university. All right? So somehow, the more important thing is that how the service is provided to consumers, either in a merchant way or in a platform way. So the question here we want to ask is, when I want to do something, I need to choose an appropriate model, hopefully to maximize my total expected profit. So some businesses are born to be MSPs. Okay, so for example, if you want to do a dating website, I guess in 99% you are going to do an MSP. Or if you want to do, for example, today, suppose you also want to do a search service like Google, then maybe you would also agree that the advertising model seems to be reasonable. But still, there are a lot of issues or a lot of situations that the decision seems to be ambiguous. Okay? Whenever you want to sell products, you may always buy in products to sell or just make a marketplace. So it's up to you. All right? And you know, either one has a good and bad parts, it has pros and cons. So you really need to make a decision. Or like in the financial industry, like in the healthcare industry, R&D industry, and so on and so on. There are just so many situations that we need to make a decision about how to provide the service or product to the market. If you want to make some lending business, do you want to open a bank or do you want to do some kind of lending club? If you want to provide healthcare consulting services, then do you want to have a hospital or do you want to have patients like me? If you want to do some consulting services for professionals for business development or for technology development, do you want to have a professional consulting firm or do you want to do incentive? All right, there are just so many situations that we need to make a decision. So how may we make a decision? In some sense, we need to consider the scope, governance, pricing of all other things that we need to consider to run a potential platform. So all these issues are important so that we may somehow estimate how successful our platform will be. Only if we may estimate the the degree of success of our platform so that we may compare it with a merchant case, right? So that's the idea. But of course, to do this, you really need to do a lot of things, right? There are so many factors to take into consideration. So we need to understand one thing is that whenever you are doing this particular strategic choice, you certainly will be affected by more than one factor. There will not just be one single factor telling you that, okay, do A instead of do B. There are certainly multiple factors for you to consider, and then you need to judge. You need to weigh them so that eventually you determine which one is the dominating factor. In this particular lecture, we want to look at some cases to find out some key factors. Okay? So instead of just list a few factors to tell you that, okay, there is a checklist, part A, part B, part C, blah, 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 I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you what are the key factors directly. Instead, I'm going to present some cases, some companies, and I'm going to present their situations to you to let you think about whether you want to do A or to do B, okay? And maybe there may be some discussions with that you may do with your friends, with your classmates, and so on. And then we try to find out those key factors, okay? So that's my plan for lecture 2. So unlike lecture 1, where 80% are lectures and only 20% are discussions, for lecture 2, 20% or 10% are lectures, and for all the others, that's pretty much discussions. Okay, so the lecture videos for lecture 2A is just stop here. So for the remaining, let's wait for part B or wait for discussions. Okay, so that's the introduction about this issue, model choice. Thank you.